Revelation 20, verse 4 says, "And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years."
Hello, this is John with Theology Ed. Here we are, we're looking at the first 9/11 event, when 9/11 happened itself, and we see Bush in the classroom and him with the teacher, and we've of course seen the same sort of imagery in I, Pet Goat 2, where the pet goat, like Bush was reading the pet goat to the children. Here we have the second one, and associated with it is a second 9/11 attack, a 9/11 style attack, false flag attack, only this time much larger, with much more devastating effects to the United States. And
do you not think an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm? This work continues. The story goes on. And an angel still rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm. God bless you all. And God bless America.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. What word? Steal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kick. Yes, kick. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Lesson 60 on page 150.
what we're seeing over and over again is a repeated theme. And the theme is that there is a solar eclipse followed by a full moon, or a solar eclipse followed by a buck moon, which is also called a stag moon. So we have this theme that the solar eclipse followed by the buck moon is very closely associated with a very devastating change or turn in world affairs, an attack, a catastrophe, followed by major events, something like this. And we've seen this in I, Pet Goat 2, of course. However, we've also seen it in other places. One place that was very clear was that episode of The Simpsons from about 10 years ago, long before the 2017 eclipse, that explicitly showed the eclipse going across from the northwest to the southeast.
For centuries, man has been ruled by science and industry, but that era is drawing to a close. We stand on the cusp of a new epoch, one of prophecy, puzzles, and signs in the sky. And that epoch begins today.
Our top story today: Springfield will experience a rare total eclipse of the sun. A solar eclipse is like a woman breastfeeding in a restaurant. It's free, it's beautiful, but under no circumstances should you look at it. We recommend using a homemade camera obscura, fashioned from an ordinary shoebox and paper towel tube. This was supposed to be pre-made. Fine, I'll do it myself. Where's the end of the freaking tape? Forget it, we'll do it next week.
The eclipse is today.
There's an eclipse when I say there's an eclipse!
Okay, people, we've hit penumbra. Brace yourself for umbra. I'm gonna see it first.
No, I'm gonna see it first!
Hit the road, you big load.
Then showed time passing, a lot of time passing, so much time that Lisa got bored and they had to do other scene and come back. And I say time passing, these gears, if you look, you have the sun, earth, and moon, and they were spinning around like time is passing. And she sat there tapping her fingers like boring, waiting. And then when it came back, she had to go find the ring eclipse, the annular eclipse, which is the June 21st annular eclipse, and the full moon after it, which was supposed to be important to the Freemasons and these secret societies. And she came across this great crimes against a kill holy sage message. We saw this repeated theme, and what came after that, of course, was devastation. On that moon night, Bart takes over, basically operating as like in the place of the Savior. An evil guy takes over the place of the Savior. The stained glass window of Christ is destroyed. Demons and burning hell appear on the nuns' paintings and pictures and art. We have this hurricane. It looks like an asteroid or something falling from heaven here. Maybe we have things burning, bushes and trees burning, and the ground opens up like hell is opened up to earth. Okay, and we saw in Drive Angry. I don't even have pictures of it. What was the story of Drive Angry? It was about Satanists preparing to sacrifice a child on the first full moon after, and they don't tell us.
Ned, stop!
It must be killed. It bears the mark of the beast. Sorry, not that one.
What do we do? What do we do?
I cannot in good faith hand over this child to you.
But sacrificing her under the full moon is okay.
This child will open the door to a new world order.
They sentenced me to 20 years of boredom for trying to change the system from within. I'm coming now, I'm coming to reward them. First, we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin.
The June 21st event, again, Father's Day, signs in the heavens, and everybody's wounded. First we take Manhattan, that's the first 9/11, and then we take Berlin, hinting at a second 9/11. Again, an association of the previous one, which in this case, he wrote this before either happened, but in this case, we have the previous one followed by another one. The IPECO 2, the previous one followed by another 9/11.
I'm guided by a signal in the heavens. I'm guided by this birthmark on my skin. I'm guided by the beauty of our weapons. First, we take Manhattan. Then we take Berlin.
And another film that I'm going to show you right now that is really interesting and having the same link and having associations with 9/11 explicitly, and other predictive programming in this case. Here, this boy is in his bed. This is the movie Knowing. He's in his bed and he's going to be awakened by what they call whisperer. And it's scary because this whisperer sneaks into his house while he's sleeping and shows him basically a vision. Now watch. Okay, so he's waking up. Detects this. Here's a person walking into his room. That's the whisperer. This should be fair use, by the way, because I'm only explaining it. But let's see. Okay, so he gets up and he looks at this guy. And he's going to be scared, obviously, because he doesn't really know him. There's no conversation going on here. So the audio is not important. He is going to point this whisper to the window. And you're going to have this vision. Now, the window, the environment, and the vision itself are all relevant here. So keep an eye on it. See his face lighting up? Okay. He looks to the vision. Now that's pretty clear. You should see it. We got the annular eclipse right there. Okay. He's going to walk over and let's see what comes with the annular eclipse, or outside. I guess after or on. It's after. Watch carefully. The world is burning entirely. Now keep watching what comes with this eclipse. Okay. He's terrified. And now he's going to focus on an animal that comes out. There you go. Okay. Now, what is the movie? What is the context of the scene? And what does it mean? All right. Clearly what we have in here is we have a solar eclipse. And in this case, it's a moose that comes out, a male moose. Now, a moose, they don't call it a buck. It can be called a bull or a stag, and the buck moon is also called a stag moon. The name of the movie is Knowing. It's produced by Escape Artists. Okay, Nicolas Cage is the main actor.
You and me together forever.
50 years ago, the students of William Dawes Elementary imagined what the future might hold. Today, we unveiled their legacy.
It's a list of dates.
Every major global disaster for the last 50 years in perfect sequence. The next number on the chain predicts that tomorrow, 81 people are going to die.
The film is about knowing the future. Okay, in 1959, there's this girl who hears the voice of these whisperers. She's, of course, she's looking at the sun. She knows there's something to do with the sun, and she's interested in it. And you'll see why if she knew the future. The video ends. It's a solar flare, a massive solar flare, super solar flare, something that burns everything up. And she would write down numbers. Numbers that she wrote down would be prophetic. Was going to make a time capsule, what they thought the future would look like from 1959. So most of the kids were drawing, robots or spaceships or whatever they imagined would come in the future. Well, she wrote a number sheet, and they put all of this in this time capsule. And then, if you look closely here, where they're going to drop the time capsule, now that is a black sun design. Right, here's your black sun. Here's your rays or whatever. It looks very similar to your typical black sun art. Okay, they're going to drop this in here and then close it up, obviously. But then they're also going to open it the same way in 50 years. I think Nicolas Cage's son gets the number sheet. His dad happens to be a professor at MIT. And so his dad didn't think anything of it at first, but at home, his dad looked at the number sheet after Caleb had gone to bed, and these numbers popped out to him. Look what we have here. 9/11/01, and then 2996. And he was like, 9/11/01. And he's finally figured out that this is the 9/11 terrorist attack. And he went online, and he looked, and it's 9/11, a day we'll never forget, in memory of the 2,996 lives. And he's like, wait a minute, we have date and total fatalities on here. And so he started to look at the sheet more carefully to see, is that just one thing, or did it have others like it? And it turned out that he was finding them repeatedly.
It's some kind of tragedy.
Get off the train.
Why? What's wrong?
Just take the baby and get off the train.
Estimates put the presumed dead at 81.
The prediction came true. It's not coincidence. Don't let him watch the news.
Why won't you tell me what's going on? They were here.
Who?
The Whisperer people.
The numbers are a warning. They're a warning to everyone.
This is not a test. This is an emergency broadcast transmission.
Are we gonna die?
I will never let that happen, Caleb. Do you hear me? Never.
This was back in 2009 when this was released, before both the BP oil spill and the Fukushima earthquake. So when he was watching TV, he looked at the clock, looks again, and the clock turns to midnight and at Japan. Now, that wasn't on there before the Japan. Then the Japan showed up, and this is it was zoomed in pretty good on the clock, and immediately he looked down to the number sheet and saw the number 81, which is, I guess, the country code of Japan. And then we have this scene where he looks at the news, and there's this Gulf of Mexico oil spill when a oil rig caught fire off the coast. They showed the whole segment about it. It just kept going and going and going. It didn't fit because it doesn't fit in the film. There's no oil spills in this film. It wasn't relevant. Just a disaster, and the film was about disasters. And so he watched that, and they showed this. So already this sort of flags the movie as, wow, we got these number sheets, we've got some symbolism going on if you're watching it carefully. So he continues, and we get this scene that I just showed you, where the Whisperer comes in, gives him the vision, and he looks, and we clearly in the vision have depicted an annular eclipse, or an eclipse at least. I don't know if it would actually look that way. If you had a big fire outside, you wouldn't have the darkened center. That was done by the producers of the film. So he's going to go over to this, and we see, of course, stag come out. Okay? And the stag is burning. Again, it's not the eclipse that is the catastrophe, it doesn't look like. The eclipse is what paves the way for this. What's really burning is that buck moon night. Now, as we go, we get confirmation of that. Cage, the Cage character, ends up meeting this other lady, the daughter of the old prophet girl who died. And this girl, he and this girl were friends. The lady were friends now. And their children were friends. And at one point, she was taking care of his kid and her kid, and they were off running off. And of course, things got chaotic, and she died. And they said the one in an ambulance, and the one paramedic says to the other, he says, "All right, you're going to write the time down." And she says, "Exactly midnight, right at midnight." Okay, there's your doomsday. Right at midnight, they look up at the clock, and we have the date and time. The date was on the sheet, the number sheet, and so there was talk about it being October 19th. But if you look closely, what is October 19th? Go backwards. It's 9/11. Hinting at or telling us it's the buck moon again. Because we already had the eclipse. He looks out, he sees the burning stag. But watch what happens. Now, she died, of course, which means his kid is unattended because she was taking care of him. He runs off. Where's the kid? And he looks, And what startles him when he gets out of the car? A buck passes. Right? A deer and a buck. A doe and a buck. But the buck passes. Strange thing to have in the middle of a film where he's chasing a whisperer to save his kid. They stop to have him startled by a buck. And then he gets to this whisperer guy. He's like, "Where's my kid? Where's Caleb?" And the kid says, "It's okay, Dad. It's okay." And look what he comes with. He walks over with his bunny. The girl gets a bunny as well, but the purpose is to reproduce later when they repopulate the earth after these whisperers save them. Okay? And so he has the male one, and so we've got another buck. We're getting buck. This is telling us quite clearly we have the buck is burning, second 9/11, midnight doomsday. He goes to find him, and just to make sure you don't get confused about whether this is the buck night or not, they make sure a buck comes and startles him. It's what scares him, the buck. And then another one, just all for good measure, I guess. After this, the kids are saved by the whisperers, who were aliens that look like angels, obviously, angels or demons, who then rescue him by taking him up to the spaceship. While they're up there in the spaceship safe, having been taken away, what happens to the Earth? The solar flare, all sorts of chaos and social unrest, followed by a fire that devours everything. Okay, nobody survived. And so you have sort of their new heaven and new earth. You can certainly see the imitation of at least one version of a Christian eschatology. So you have something that looks like a rapture, which then you have unrest and suffering and tribulation, followed by a fire that devours everything, and then a new heavens and new earth for the ones who were taken up in the first place. But so this story is very apocalyptic, and it sets the apocalypse off with an eclipse followed by the stag moon. That's doomsday. That's the second 9/11 in this video. This is what I see over and over again. And I mentioned it. Does it mean it's going to happen on those dates? No. Does it mean it's necessarily going to happen and we're going to see all this unfolding right before our eyes? Not necessarily. But I think we're already seeing the beginnings of it clearly. You know, you go back to the iPad Go 2 calendar. This is, when we look at this calendar, the 2020 version of it, all right? We've got the buck moon, of course. We've got the eclipse. But look closely. I mentioned April exit, and certainly there's a part of that. But if you look closely, the exit is actually before April. March roughly was the time when the lockdowns took off. Right? I shouldn't have been thinking about April. April is the April pink moon here above the April month is after you don't have exit anymore. The lockdown started before that. We're in this. This is your timeline for 2020, and it was here that people started to get locked up. And I think May, my own opinion here, again, now I'm going to say this, as much emphasis as we have on eclipse, buck moon, and afterwards, right? Because you see here, this is where the chaos is and everything. It doesn't look like they have a lot of chaos here. Still looks sort of orderly on the left side of the eclipse, and especially on the left side of the buck moon, even through the eclipse. You see, orderly, buck moon, wild. Now, even though it's that way, it's not at all clear to me that we won't have things starting to take off in May. And there are different reasons for thinking that. One, remember, in the Simpsons episode, where they have the 621 and the nuclear detonation in the second 9/11, that was all there, and that I have a video on that. There's a Simpsons episode, To Surveil with Love, about a dirty bomb going off in their train station with the big clock that goes flying across. The clock had the hands where it would indicate a 621, 6, and then at the 6, and then between the 10 and the 11 to make it a 21, and then it lands and it upside down. It's a 9/11. in Homer's backyard.
Sir, that hollow mountain in Nevada that was supposed to hold 1 million years of nuclear waste is full.
Did they jump in the pile to smush it down?
I went down in one place and up in another. We need somewhere else to dispose of this plutonium.
Yeah, just find the biggest idiot on our payroll and slip it in his bag. Ooh, that's a bingo.
Good mac and cheese.
I've had better. Down at the train station.
I'll have to check it out sometime.
Now, the best mac and cheese I've ever had is at a bowling alley in Ogdenville.
I am pretty full.
Breadcrumbs on the top.
I'm on my way!
That bag, surely it's attended. Unattended bag!
Panic!
So, what do you think?
I think we're gonna blow it up and let the bleeding heart liberals ask questions later.
Well, now, why can't it be blown up by a woman of color?
5, 4, no time for a full countdown.
Ooh, it's dinner time.
Now, in that episode, when they did the blast, he says 5, 4, no time for full countdown. It's almost like things start a little early. I wouldn't be surprised if they get started in the 5s in the month of May, right? March was when you can't get out. March and April is your lockdown before. May be when it starts to take off.
Well, clear skies have allowed the perfect start to the longest day. Look at this. Thousands gathered at Stonehenge this morning to mark the summer solstice, including one family giving their grandmother a rather unique birthday surprise. Pam Caulfield joined them.
Everyone has their own reason for being here. Some are ticking off their bucket list.
I've never been to Solstice, it's my first time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I've always wanted to come, but I worked, so I couldn't.
Some are practicing their religion.
No, I'm a druid. I do the moon ceremonies up here every 2 weeks. You learn how the moon affects you, yeah? You learn to swim with the tide.
Others, like Margaret from Midsummer Norton, are celebrating a milestone.
It's the most wonderful birthday I've ever had. I said I don't know that I've ever been to such a big birthday party before.
All are hoping to get a good view.
Well, there's about half an hour until sunrise. You can probably see the mist is just lifting from the fields there. A bit of a chill in the air, but clear skies. I think it's going to be perfect conditions for a fantastic summer solstice.
As the sun comes up, it rouses emotions.
I'll cry now, but today I'm dressed as Oberon, the King of the Fairies, and my mum passed away last year, and I saw butterflies everywhere, so that's why I'm dressed like this.
It's been a really amazing experience, quite surreal. I was actually born in the centre of the stones 35 years ago, and it's hard not to feel joyful when there's thousands of people celebrating with you.
Well, what a fantastic sunrise and thousands of people here to enjoy it. Let's hope this weather lasts for the rest of the summer.
Hi everyone. We're going to take a look at some evidence of Prince William having some type of role during the end times New World Order.
That was for my Harry Potter scar, as I call it, just here. I call it that because it glows sometimes, and some people notice it, and other times people don't even notice it at all. But I got hit by a golf club when I was playing golf with a friend of mine. Yeah. We were on a putting green, and the next thing you know, there was a 7-iron, and it came out of nowhere. And
let's begin with an identification of the book of Revelation's, the dragon's 3 beasts. Revelation 16:13 tells us, "And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs, for they are spirits of demons." We are, in this presentation, identifying the papacy as the first beast, particularly the popes. Revelation 13:12, "And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." We're identifying the second beast as the USA Mason, the second beast, the false prophet, with Obama as the lead. Revelation 13:11-13, "And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and causeth the earth to worship the first beast, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." And then the third, Prince William, the Antichrist. Revelation 13:16-18, "And he causeth all to be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and no one will be able to buy or sell except who has the mark. The number is that of a man, and his number is 666. And so I believe that these 3 are creating what will bring the 6 and the 6 and the 6. And that would be a new world religion, a one world worship, and a new day of rest in the first 6. A new world order, a one world economy, and a new Atlantis in the second 6. And a new world peace, a one world rule, and a new temple in Jerusalem in the third 6. So, it is all reflected in the US dollar bill with the new world order, many into one, and in God we trust. Revelation 13:1 tells us, "And the dragon, who is behind all of this, stood on the sand of the seashore." And you see the image of Baphomet. So, let's take you first to the Bank of America mural. There are 3 paintings that are prominently featured in the Bank of America Corporate Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. This fresco was created by artist Benjamin F. Long. Let's begin with one of the murals. In the final sequence of the murals, we see the surviving blue-collar population at the bottom. Notice there are 13 men working below to acquire the wealth of the elite. The shovels that they hold have heads that are rich gold in color, suggesting gold as the resource to secure. And by the way, 13 is the occult number. At the next level above the ground is the higher level, educated, skilled worker who is rebuilding the new world, while the elite giant is restfully sleeping above in the hills, suggesting his secret control. The picture suggests a rebuilding era due to the clean landscapes. This is the final era of the elite, after many on the earth have been eliminated and the new world is underway. In this mural, the back wall, as you'll notice, has a barbed wire, and the elite above are circling in alchemal flames in naked freedom and power, while being separated from the chaos below the net. Key characters in the crowd are hazmat and Marines carrying rifles. There is an active burning industrial building if you look in the background, suggesting a crematory. And you see to the right at the top the Nazi gold eagle and flags that are red, white, and blue, with blank street signs and protest signs that are blank, suggesting that the people have no voice and no answers. There's more details to the mural. In this mural, there is the Masonic checker floor as part of the landscape, along with the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan youth in the Masonic heel-to-heel 90-degree stance, representing a new generation. The burning bush in the background is blowing exactly westward, indicating that the Western world is being burned. You see the close-up. The white male right next to the burning bush, wearing a red sweater and blue jeans and reading a book, is casually aware of the burning bush. Masonic rituals depict initiates, especially those of the 33rd degree, as revered and being near the burning bush. The woman inside a transparent cube is being drawn by the electromagnetic energy of the black sun at the top. Politicians are arguing their explanations. So, let's talk about in more detail the figure in the trench coat. The Prince, the Order of the Garter. A young boy is dressed in a long, dark, double-breasted trench coat, resembling Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, KG. Born June the 21st, 1982. That is a significant date, as you will see later. He is the elder son of Charles, Prince of Wales, and the late Diana, Princess of Wales, and third eldest grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. He is the second in the line of succession behind his father. A clue that this depiction is Prince William are the wrinkles in his right coat sleeve that spell out William, as you can see below. In the mural, Prince William is wearing the Order of the Garter on his head, on his crest, and that is the crown crest, which is a gold lion, as in the Lion of the tribe of Judah. A near identical image of William at the bottom is found on the Denver airport mural as well. And in that mural, he's holding an anvil that was a sword that is now representing peace. The Order of the Garter was founded by Edward III in 1348, known as the Black Prince. It will be 666 years of the Order's existence in the year 2014. And on June the 13th, 2011, in Windsor, England, Prince William was named the 1,000th member in over a 600-year period of the Order of the Garter. The Order of the Garter 8-pointed star is worn on the left breast, and it has a 13-stone ruby cross center. So, let's talk about Prince William and his lineage to King David. The Black Prince, King Edward III, was the very first Knight of the Garter. He comes directly from the lineage of King David, thereby qualifying him to be accepted by the rabbis as in the lineage of the Messiah. But he also comes from the lost tribe of Dan. Dan was the 5th son of Jacob, and the tribe is also represented by the 6-pointed star of David and a serpent. The marriage of Charles to Diana was extremely important because Diana brought one aspect of the Merovingian bloodline back to the English crown. In marrying Prince Charles, William is the first child to claim lineage from every English king who has left descendants. Prince William is not a confirmed Freemason, but has many Masonic relatives. Kings and dukes were Grand Masters of Masonic lodges. The last Grand Master, who rules the United Grand Lodge of England, is H.R.H. Duke of Kent, cousin of Queen Elizabeth II and uncle of Prince William. Now, as you look at the coat of arms at the bottom, Ich is in the left design, and Dien is in the right design. Ich represents the Black Prince, Dien the Red Dragon, and together they can read, I, the Black Prince, serve the Red Dragon. And we know who the Red Dragon is. So, Prince Charles's coat of arms represents the Red Dragon. In Revelation 13:1, and the dragon stood on the sand of the seashore. Then I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns, 7 heads, and on his horns were 10 diadems, and on his heads were blasphemous names. And the dragon gave him his power and his throne and great authority. Now, of significance to that is that at his coronation in 1969, and we're talking about Prince Charles, the father, he sat on a chair with a large red dragon emblazoned on it. During the ceremony, his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, said, "This dragon gives you your power, your throne, and your own authority." His response to her was, and I quote, "I am now your liege man and worthy of your earthly worship." Liege is an Old English word meaning Lord, meaning I am now your Lord man and worthy of your earthly worship. And also, as you can see here, the crest of the Knights Templar is showing the same symbols as did Prince Charles when he received this coronation. So, the origin and meaning of the red dragon symbol goes beyond the coat of arms. You see it here in the flag of Wales, the red dragon, and that means the place of the strangers or foreigners. That is, as in the tribe of Dan, importing themselves to Wales. And then you see it on the airplane of Wales, the same red dragon. And then we see it in the 1953 Royal Badge of Wales. And notice that there is a circle around the dragon that gives the letters Y, Drag, Gach, Deidre, Situin. And it means the red dragon should go forward. This is the unofficial Welsh national motto. Sometimes it is described as the red dragon will rise again, or the red dragon will lead the way. And I believe this is all symbolic of what is to come in the time of tribulation with the Antichrist. As you look in detail now at the seal of Prince Charles, the father, here's what you see in detail. But let's first look at the text, Revelations 12:3. "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads." And then Revelation 13:1. "Then I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads, and on his horns were the 10 diadems, and on his heads were blasphemous names. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were those of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion." And so as you look at Prince Charles, the father, his seal, his coat of arms, you notice that the crown actually is shown here in 7 places, and they're all numbered. You see it in the lion figure. You see it above that represents the sun, Prince William. You see the crown of the face. You see the crown on the unicorn. You see the crown in the center of the shield, and you see 2 more crowns below. There are your 7 heads with 7 crowns. Also, we discussed how in this text that the beast would resemble a leopard, and which this does by its length and its thinness as compared to a lion. It has the feet of a bear, and if you look at the feet, those are bare feet, and it has the mouth as a lion, and it certainly has a lion's mouth. So let's focus on the lion, leopard, bear beast on the left. Notice there are 3 parallel horns on his neck, which are, in a manner of speaking, plucked out by the roots, which means turned upside down. Then come to the center photo. The helm, which is the face, has 7 curved bars or horns. These 7 horns, along with the 3 horns from the eldest son, lion, at the top, make a total of 10 horns in the head region. And from Daniel 7 verse 8, "I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things." So as you can see in the first 2 photos, we have numbered the 3 additional horns to the 7 that already existed in the previous slide. Now, let's take a look at the eyes of a man in the horn. Over on the next photo is the unicorn. In heraldry, the unicorn's eyes are round and black. There are no visible eye whites. Queen Elizabeth's heraldic unicorn is depicted just like that, no visible eye whites. But Charles's design, here shown, has the eyes shaped more like those of a human, with noticeable eye whites. Daniel 7:8. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man. Also in heraldry, this unicorn represents not only Scotland, but also a counterfeit Christ. Let's take it further. The unicorn of the prince. The constellation Monoceros, which is the unicorn, is in the winter's great triangle, as you see above in the skies, formed by the bright stars Betelgeuse, Sirius, and Procyon. Monoceros is on the celestial equator between Orion, which is where God comes through, and Hydra, which is where the dragon is. And it contains exactly 66 naked eye stars. Monoceros forms the square and the compasses. The square is at 90 degrees and the compasses at 55 degrees. In ancient Egypt, the plumb rule was called a merket. The merket was used in conjunction with a plumb line to measure the positions of stars and their corresponding positions on the ground in Egypt. Our winter sky is dominated by Orion, but the creature that is following him, tracking his every movement across the celestial sphere, mimicking him, is Monoceros, the unicorn. And who does the unicorn represent? Prince Charles and Prince William. In the photo to the left, which is a hieroglyph, the horn of Monoceros points to the silver gate of man. And Enki, who is in this hieroglyph, is stepping in the direction of where the unicorn horn is pointing. And you see his foot on top of the unicorn horn. And he has a bird in his hand. The bird is the constellation Corvus, Latin for raven or crow. It sits on the tail of Hydra, the sea dragon, as you can see above, and it includes 11 stars visible to the naked eye. It belonged to Apollo, that is the bird. Apollo, the god of light, which the Bible calls Apollyon, the destroyer. Enki is the one of the 4 gods known as the Anunnaki, who were Sumerians. Anunnaki were associated with the Nephilim giants of the Bible. And then, up above, his left foot is on the horn of the unicorn, as if he is rising up from the unicorn out of the waters. The ancients believed that the Milky Way was the celestial river in the heavens, and Monoceros is on the celestial equator of the Milky Way. The Winged Savior. Prince Charles was presented with a model of the sculpture unveiled on March the 6th, 2002. And Prince Charles was here called the Winged Hero. It is a giant bronze statue of Prince Charles as a winged hero, quote-unquote, saving the world. It is to become the centerpiece of a remote Amazonian town in Brazil. And then there are many identifiers of Prince Charles relative to the number 666, the number of the beast, the number of the Antichrist. And here they are. 8 in number. Charles, in English and French, comes from the Germanic name Karl, which was derived from a Germanic word which meant man, for it is the number of a man, that is the 666. Prince Charles was granted his heraldic achievement, or coat of arms, at the age of 13, the occult number. The red dragon of Wales, under which he serves, Ichi Dien, means I serve, and he pronounced that at his coronation. He claims descent from Israel's King David, Jesus, and Islam's Muhammad, as well as the tribe of Dan, and all of those are in the lineage of Christ. But this is the Antichrist. 4. He will be the first living member of the royal family to have a life-size statue dedicated in his honor in Brazil, as Savior of the world. 5. He was born in 1948, the same year that Israel became a modern nation. 6. His name can be calculated to the numerical value of 666 by the ancient Hebrew method in both English and in Hebrew. 7. His coat of arms shows the past emperors of the Roman Empire of iron, leopard, the feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion. And 8. Prince Charles has declared that as king, he will be known as the defender of faith, that is, as in all faiths, bringing them together. So, the coming world leader, commonly known as the Antichrist, has 33 titles in the Old Testament and 13 in the New Testament. How interesting. 33 has become the Masonic highest order number, and it is a number of sacrifice, and 13 is the occult number. Daniel reveals a second prince who shall later arrive. With Daniel 9:26, we have a specific reference to the prince that shall come after the Messiah is cut off. A prince whose people are not only associated with the destruction of the city, that is Jerusalem, and the sanctuary, that is the Holy Temple, but who are also associated with wars and desolations unto the end. This prophecy is referring to a future time when the Antichrist, often referred to as the little prince, the little horn, and later as king, rises out of the empire which was once ancient Rome and now Europe, taking his rightful seat of authority, the power of his kingship, and the crown of the red dragon. So note that the eldest son, lion, is around the neck of the dragon.
Inside UN headquarters is an ominous meditation room. The custodian of the meditation room is Lucis Trust Company. At one time, the Lucis Trust was located at 666 United Nations Plaza and was formerly named Lucifer Publishing Company. The Rockefeller-funded UN meditation room is 33 feet long and 18 feet wide. 18 feet is 6 plus 6 plus 6. The small, dimly lit, windowless room was built in the shape of a pyramid that is laying on its side. At the center of the room is a 4-foot-high, black, casket-shaped stone slab which weighs 6.5 tons and is extremely magnetic and rests on a concrete pillar. The pillar descends beneath the floor into the bedrock and taps into the Earth's hyperdimensional energies to induce a state of altered consciousness. Not far from the meditation room is the United Nations Security Council chamber. This is the emergency room of the UN, where the world leaders meet when there is a threat to peace. They decide the fate of nations. Even though Israel has over 200 uninspected nuclear weapons and has violated dozens of resolutions, no sanctions are ever imposed because of the United States' veto powers. Notice the giant mural that towers over the Security Council room. The central focus of the UN mural is the phoenix bird that has risen. The phoenix bird is a symbol of Lucifer. Egyptians believed that the phoenix symbolized a god who rose to heaven in the form of a morning star like Lucifer after his fire immolation of death and rebirth. Notice that the phoenix bird is not standing above his own ashes. He is standing above his old skin. Like a snake, he has shed his old skin and is revealing himself as God at the center of the mural. At the top left, there is a church steeple without a cross. The missing cross symbolizes the death of Christianity. Below, a woman receives the rays of the sun god, while the man in front of her plays Pan's flute. To their right are two pyramid symbols and people joined together by a long blue serpent-like cloth. Below the risen phoenix, a sword is driven through a dragon beast. This represents the killing of old beliefs and religions that depicted Lucifer as a beast. The New World religion worships him as beautiful. Behind the phoenix, the ghostly figures of the walking dead are stepping into a void. They symbolize depopulation. On the right panel, the pale horse from the book of Revelation is the bringer of death to humanity through weapons, hunger, and disease. The man is releasing him. The chained black man represents slavery, while the top panel of the mural shows a technologically advanced white race who control industry, art, and science. In this post-apocalyptic mural, the military man standing on the tail of the beast represents worldwide military power. He tips his helmet to the elite, who are climbing out from underground cities where they safely hid from the apocalypse. In the main oval panel above the phoenix bird, a woman is holding flowers. She is the bride in a wedding ceremony. Who are these newlyweds that are kneeling submissively beneath the serpent in the overhead tree? Could the newlyweds symbolize William and Kate? The serpent in human form is tempting the little girl Eve, who accepts the apple. On the right side of the top panel, a reptilian green creature with scaly skin is dancing with a naked woman while musicians entertain him. The general message of the UN's Phoenix Rising mural is that humanity is stepping into a new Luciferic reality. Beneath this disturbingly prophetic mural, world leaders make global decisions that affect the lives of nearly 7 billion people.
You see that? Those 3 lines around the neck of the dragon, thus associating Prince William with his father, Prince Charles, and the dragon. Prince William will become the Prince of Peace. Daniel 11:22, the overflowing forces will be flooded away before him and shattered, and also the Prince of the Covenant. After an alliance is made with him, he will practice deception, and he will go up and gain power with a small force of people. In a time of tranquility, he will enter the richest parts of the realm, and he will accomplish what his fathers never did, nor his ancestors. He will distribute plunder, booty, and possessions among them, and he will devise his schemes against strongholds, but only for a time. So when it says he will accomplish what his fathers never did, nor his ancestors, it is most likely referring to the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem in a supposed time of peace. And that is why in the Denver mural above, he is holding what was a sword of war, what has been turned into a symbol of peace. So today, the unicorn is a symbol adopted by New Agers to represent a great world leader whom they expect to bring world peace to the earth.
Hi you guys, I wanted to talk about Serco. It's a company. Many of you are probably familiar with it because Obamacare has been taken over by Serco. They took over the contracts, the Obamacare contracts. Serco did. Well, let me show you something really interesting where Serco is located in the United States. Watch this. Serco Jobs employment in Prince William, Virginia. I'm telling you, they're telling you exactly who is in control subliminally over that Obamacare and over everything else. It is Prince William. They're telling you right in your face, but most of you aren't looking. Here I showed you guys the Prince William Islamic Center on a previous video. Now, you look and see it's in Virginia, the Islamic Center, and it's in Manassas, man and ass, right there in the word, right in your face. Here's the seal for Prince William. Look how it's a weight. He owns all the money, everything of the world. It's a seal for Prince William, Virginia, but they're showing you subliminally that he has everything. He's got it all.
It's the historic moment everyone's buzzing about. Melania Trump meeting Prince Harry for the first time. And Inside Edition was right there. Melania wore a smart checkered pantsuit for her first official solo trip as First Lady.
They are men and women who have confronted a challenge and overcome it. They are ordinary people doing extraordinary things. They want to live rather than just be alive. You are the Invictus generation, and you are showing us all.
Frankly, the church has been basically silenced already. Right? In my mind, I always imagined the church being silenced in some sort of violent, horrible, terrible way. But, you know, I guess the church is pretty soft, right? We're like, okay, we all go home. It is like the fish in IPEC Go 2 that just jumped right into the boat of Anubis voluntarily. He didn't even have to do anything. It's just like going by.
From the ashes, we rise up. We had Ash Wednesday. We want to rise up with Jesus at Easter. And I believe that there'll be some rising from this dying.
Something else. That is the major feature behind the Pope that features inside the audience hall, namely this. Have you seen this before? I'd never seen it before myself and felt like I had entered the realm of the Mandela effect once again, on overload this time, since this is the most ominous thing I've ever seen in a while. This artwork was placed within the hall in 1977, as history states, and depicts, according to the Vatican, the resurrection of Christ emerging from a nuclear apocalypse. Now think to yourself for a moment. The audience hall is a reinforced concrete bunker, and the depiction of Christ shares the same connections with Christ himself rising from an atomic apocalypse. Not only that, but many people have said this is the most un-Christian thing they have ever seen in a long time, even a number of Catholics I've talked to. For it looks like Christ's head is in fact missing, at least half of it. A number of Catholics don't even remember even seeing this before or looking at it, but it's been in the hall since, at least according to history, since 1977. The structure seems to have entered at least the internet's consciousness around 2012. I could find a couple of examples before that, but most seem to be post 2012, and there doesn't seem to be any pictures of it from the front. All seem to be taken from the side. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that because I found it really disturbing.
gonna go up. I'll check in with headquarters. 8-1. There's something going on with Tower 2.
So 9/11, 2001, IXXI, many believe, or some believe, that Jesus himself was born on 9/11, 3 BC, which is pretty interesting because 9/11, 2001 is an inversion of that, 9/11, 2001, 3 AD. But this event, this horrific event that happened on 9/11, 2001, we've discussed this before in terms of the two pillars, like Samson pushing down the two pillars, north and south, plus and minus, just like the pillars in Freemasonry, Yashin and Boaz, plus and minus. So the male and female, the parents, and just like that Samson figure pushing it down in the Bible. And then you've got the child here, which in terms of what we're looking at the moment, as I say, there's many different ways of understanding the nature of this satanic ritual, because there's many different paths and roads that lead to the same conclusion. But the World Trade Center 7 representing that cornerstone. Now remember, Jesus Christ is our true cornerstone, and this all involves inverting. It's to do with the Antichrist. They're trying to bring in, they're trying to open the pit, they're trying to bring in the Antichrist and the age of the Antichrist. So that involves smashing this cornerstone, as per usual, smashing this stone. So just to put it very simply, this is exactly what we're looking at when we look at that. We're looking at the figure pushing down the two pillars and the veil breaking, just like when Jesus died on the cross and the veil was rent, and the cube collapsing, the cornerstone collapsing behind the veil. Now G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. So that is exactly what that's representing there, including the generative principle. But you see how when these pillars come down, collapsing the cube, the cornerstone, G equals 7, building 7, and then rebuilding into a new tower, which would be the transfigured third temple, but of the material world. Because when Jesus Christ defeated the curse, ripped the veil and defeated death and sin, which is, we'll go into in another video how we see the truth of the gospel through this. He rose again in the true third temple. Jesus Christ is the temple of the living God. He rose again out of the curse of sin and death. The grave could not hold him, and he rose again and became our true third temple. And when we're in the body of Christ, we are safe in our Father's hands. So that G, as we looked before, the Tesseract, the GameCube, is to do with portal. Remember, ripping the fabric of time and space. And it's all represented, as I've shown before, here and here again, the two towers with that G in the center, bringing in Lucifer, opening the window. And 9/11 being a sacrifice into the wine press, level 7 in the womb, the wine press. And the blood of the innocent, as they always do in these satanic rituals, into the wine press. So essentially we're looking at this figure here, Samael, Samson, son of Samael, son of Satan, pushing down these two pillars. You see, this is the Freemasonic G, the square and the compass that he's standing in between and pushing down the two pillars. And of course, building 7 was collapsed. So
he was. You remember the story of Samson? When he pushed down the pillars, he was killed. So that would be the same kind of allegory there. The bringing down that and rising into a new tower, rising into a new transfigured tower.
Okay, we're at Walmart and we're looking at the new Solo Health Station. What's really unique about it is look at the scanner.
Show them that it's at your knee level.
Knee level.
For hand.
For your hand, where you can swipe your hand for the RFID chip. The questions it shouldn't really ask.
The Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was passed in 2010. And the law makes health insurance available to more people with the hope that they will be able to get the care they need. The new law also makes it easier for individuals to shop and compare all the different health plans with the healthcare marketplace. And depending on their situation, some may even qualify to get help paying for their plan through a subsidy. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means that all citizens must have health insurance or suffer hundreds of dollars in tax penalties that will increase each year. However, if they already receive coverage from their job, nothing really changes. It means that all citizens must have health insurance or suffer hundreds of dollars in tax penalties that will increase each year. However, if they already receive coverage from their job, nothing really changes. Starting October 1st, the new healthcare marketplace opens up for those without coverage to compare different plans. Under the new law, insurance providers cannot deny those with pre-existing conditions. This is great news for most people looking to purchase health insurance, but there are many different plans to choose from, and finding the right one is not an easy task. If you would like to learn more about the upcoming changes to the healthcare system and how they affect you, select the Continue button at the bottom of the screen. After a few simple questions, we can have an experienced professional reach out to help you find the plan that fits your specific needs.
Obamacare at Walmart. And the scanner for the RFID chip. All in one package. Here we go, folks.
Please answer the question.
Let's see, what do we want to choose here for Obamacare? Obamacare. See the scanner? Tells about the Affordable Health Care Act, Obamacare. And you can scan the forehead, eyes, everything. All in one package here at Walmart, folks. Have a good day.
Now to a possible shakeup of the royal family. This is likely to make Prince William, a very busy young man. CBS News correspondent Mark Phillips is in London with the latest. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Harry. Well, a spokesman for the royal family calls it nonsense, but it takes more than a royal denial to kill this kind of story. Prince William, it is claimed, is being groomed as a shadow king instead of his father. It's being billed as another stunning revelation about Prince William that amounts to, well, nobody's quite sure.
My brother and I were lucky enough.
The 27-year-old William is still a prince in search of a role, and one of Britain's newspapers now suggests that role is to overtake his father as the torchbearer for the future of Britain's royal family. William's grandparents, the story goes, the Queen and Prince Philip, are slowing down. So William, who is already scheduled to represent the Queen on an upcoming trip to Australia and New Zealand, is allegedly being groomed to take on more of the burden. This at the expense of his father and stepmother, Prince Charles and Camilla. Charles, the newspaper suggests, is less trusted by the palace because he doesn't have William's star power, and Camilla lacks the stamina for the rough and tumble of royal celebrity.
Prince Charles and Camilla are not going to have the same cachet for magazines, for interest in them.
The story of William's increasing profile inevitably fuels speculation that the palace would rather he be the next monarch and not his father, a scenario repeatedly denied by anybody who actually knows anything about royal affairs.
Looks like the end of the world.
No, not yet. I'm afraid this is just the beginning.
And this is what it's all about, IXXI. IXXI is 9/11 in Roman numerals. And look what is in the center of IXXI. It's a hexagon, which is a three-dimensional cube.
Look there, we've got the same kind of symbology on a Catholic basilica, which is kind of ironic. I'm here today at Washington DC with this big shrine to the Catholic Church here of the Immaculate Conception to have a deeper look at what it's all about. What an eerie place. So let's go down into the belly, the underworld, where masses take place, into the heart underneath this, the tomb of this huge temple. I mean, we're underground right now. Sorry. This is underground, this is in the belly, underneath the big temple. So much symbology in here. The National Shrine of Immaculate Conception. The birth pangs of the New Age, of abominations, ecumenical, one world under Rome. It's like an expensive hotel, one of those 5-star ones in Vegas. I mean, if that is not revering the mother, Europa. And look at him, I mean, he's bowing. I've heard so many say they don't revere Mary in that way, the false Mary. But he's bowing to this Ishtar, Isis figure. Coming out of the feminine gate. The female birthing womb. I'm sure I don't really need to say too much. It's already pretty obvious what that represents. Well, and there's that hexagon again. This same symbolism, just like the Star of David. The hexagon like we saw in the other place. The hexagon with mother and child coming through. And like the reference to the black sun. So Saturn, just like the NASA have recently shown with the hexagon on Saturn and all that. And look, the heart, connection to the heart of the earth. Heart of Mary, pray for us. So often I think it's like that birthing of that Tammuz, Nimrod, Antichrist figure from the heart of the earth, which they call Gaia, like the mother goddess Gaia. So I wonder if it's a reference to that. Definitely Ishtar, Babylonian, false religion, and this is their belief system I'm speaking about here. And the references to Saturn. 6-sided shape. The Antichrist, the birth of the Antichrist. A copy of the truth, of the true Messiah, but this is the inverted, the false one. So there's always parallels and mirrors to the real truth. It's just that this goes back to Egypt, Babylon, and there's always been usurping authority, as I said, usurping authority from the real legitimate Messiah, the real legitimate truth that we can read in the New Testament. This is how they are doing it and always have done it. This is the plan all along. The fallen plan, the kingdom of darkness, our enemy, to usurp and trick and mirror and copy, to mislead people. Look, pillars and archways, all the same designs as the other places, and she's sitting on a foundation stone there, behind these pillars where the veil would be, like in the Holy of Holies again. Same representation, the Mother Goddess, Semiramis, Diana and Child, the false Mary. Oh my goodness. And once again, you see IXXI, which is Roman numerals for 9/11, on the cup. the Frankists and other secret societies, there is this belief that they need to fill up this cup of sin, make people turn to bad, which you can see happening, in order to provoke their Christ to come, which they think is the real Christ. But that's their belief. They believe they need to fill up this cup of filth, this cup of abomination, as we're told about in the Bible, that will happen. The cup of abominations that will bring judgment upon the world. But they believe that they're going to get this Christ is going to come. But we know it's the Antichrist. It's Nimrod from the days of the Tower of Babel. And this cup of abominations. Mate. You know, even I've heard Catholics say that this Pope is very different from any other. The way he's uniting religions and one world, ecumenical, new world order. You know, the Jezebel spirit usurps authority where it has none. I was thinking about this the other day. The Jezebel spirit usurps authority where it has none. And this is kind of the way this new ecumenical religion, Babylonian New Age religion is working. Usurping authority over where it has none. You know, it's pretty interesting. Usurping authority over the man, over Jesus, the true king. The Queen, usurping illegitimate authority.
She is the one to take you to that light. Who do you think that light is? Lucifer.
I mean, please do not tell me this is not an ornate temple of Diana, the mother goddess. Sorry. I don't think that went down too well. But look, the celebration of fertility. The birth of Tammuz.
Whether you call her this, or you call her that, or you call her this, or you call her that, she's the same wherever you go. She is the Mother of God. She's the universal life force. Satan is very good at accommodating whatever culture, whatever age, whatever clime you happen to be in. Making a difference to him. He's very good at accommodating it. What I simply mean by that is he'll make you feel comfortable wherever you live in accepting his religion.
See, look, even here it's saying to receive the scroll and to break open its seals. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realise this was here. I used this picture in a video the other day. That is Apollyon the Destroyer. Mars, the Roman god of war. And we've got that same representation of the Holy of Holies type thing, and him raising out of it Apollyon the Destroyer, the Antichrist. That is not Jesus. I don't think it takes much to work out that that's not Jesus. That is not Jesus. Apollyon the Destroyer, the Antichrist.
We continue our coverage this morning of Pope Francis in America with Nora at the White House. Nora?
Thank you, Gail. You know, Pope Francis is also going to celebrate his first Mass in the United States, and that is at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. Now, he is the third Pope to visit the Basilica that is on the Catholic University of America campus. And Chip Reed is there to show us what to expect this afternoon. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning. You know, around here, most people simply call it the Shrine, and it is a beautiful building. It is the largest Roman Catholic church in America. In fact, they're expecting about 25,000 people here this afternoon to see and hear the Pope celebrate Mass.
That guns are the only reason that mass shootings continue to occur. We are saying that they factor in, and we are demanding that someone repeat the experiment that so many other countries have carried out and simply see if it yields the same results. Enough is enough!
The floating eye here is variously interpreted. Some people see the work of Freemasons in it. Some people just see this as the divine eye of providence. It's a debate for the ages.
This is the moment Japan's nuclear disaster began. A giant tsunami wave crashes into the Fukushima Daiichi power plant.
So I have just one word for Mr. Trump. Basta. Enough!
But a bright line in the sand, and we will protect you, that I can tell you, and we will say enough is enough. What's the meaning of this? You'll find out in 30 years.
Days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end.
But I want to be president of the United States to make sure that we never again do business. We never again. I went down there and talked to the president of Panama
6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end.
Basic principles of time travel are there. You got your vessel and your portal. The vessel can be just about anything, most likely a spacecraft.
Like a DeLorean.
Hellcraft.
You know, I love that movie, the way they shot it. It's so,
6
like futuristic.
Yeah? 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end.
But I want to be a president of the United States to make sure that we never again do business. We never again country. I went down there and talked to the president of Panama about cleaning up the money laundering. It leads you here, dispatch your destination, under the Milky Way tonight.
6 hours,
Wish I knew what
42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when you will
Wish I knew what
I love that movie, the way they
basic principles of time travel in there. You got your vessel and your portal. Vessel can be just about anything most likely a spacecraft.
Like in Delora. You know, I love that movie, the way they shot it. It's so, like futuristic, you know?
6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end. 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end.
Wish I knew what you were looking for. Might I know what you were finding? Wish I knew what you were looking for.
Look around, how many congregations are having regular, normal worship services? A lot of them stopped. Almost all for a period of time. It depends on if some communities are sort of opening up a little bit. You might get some that are meeting again. But it's going to take almost nothing for that to change if that does change anytime soon. Bad news about the coronavirus or some event that happens, who knows? But either way, we're already in this. And it is a disturbing time coming. I don't think it all necessarily happens right away. In fact, I'm sure it doesn't happen right away, all of it. And even at June 21st or Buck Moon, I think it's going to be a year process or more. It's going to be a long, drawn-out period. But it's coming, and I at least if they have their way, it's clearly what they're saying, I think. And so I don't want to take on like a prophetic voice in any way, shape, or form. I just want to interpret what they're saying, and what they're saying seems to be that, and it's repetitive. They're beating this drum over and over and over again.
calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
But a bright line in the sand, and we will protect you, that I can tell you, and we will say enough is enough.
You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.